Hello everyone, it's your boy Doglightning. I'm a Grandmaster Nico support main, but I like to main off meta supports and high elo. I've made a Zoe guide, Talia guide, Nico guide obviously, and now I'm bringing you my ANIVIA guide. So I've been playing this in Diamond 2 elo. I have about a 60% win rate. I first decided to start playing because I ran into someone else who one trick ponied it in Grandmaster, so I decided, you know what, it must be good, let's try it out. I did main this champ for about a month or two in the mid lane about 2 years ago, so I did have base knowledge and experience on this champ, so I'm not just coming in after playing it for about a week or two in solo queue as like an expert out of nowhere. I do understand the fundamentals of this champion, and hopefully you enjoy this guide. So first we'll just quickly go through a rundown, and then after that we'll go through each section which goes in more detail with everything. So quick rundown, I go Domination, because you really want Relentless Hunter. She's slow and Presence of Mind for mana. You can go Guardian into hard lanes. It gives you extra tankiness and makes you very hard to kill. Ignite for kill pressure in lane, and Exhaust if you have a hard lane and you just want to not die. So for items, I found the core is always getting Leandries first. Leandries is very good. It gives you double damage burn on your ulti, and it just makes it so on one item you can actually kill stuff. After that, it's situational. You can go tanky items, enchanter items, or a bit more AP depending on what you need for the team. In general, I have two builds which are here. One is this versus heavy dive. So if they have people are going to be diving onto you, you pop the stone plate and you're very tanky and hard to kill. If you pop it right before you turn into egg form, your egg becomes super tanky and hard to kill. So really good stuff. And I have my kiteable team build. So if they have people who aren't diving as much, or even if they're diving, it's people you can kite. So instance, like a Kali Kassadin, you're not getting away from them. Gargoyle. But say it's like an Olaf, you can put your wall down, pop Shirelias, and run away. So versus kiteable champs, I go this build. And Redemption just synergizes really well with the heal power on Shirelias. Also, two very cheap items for 4,200 gold. You're getting these two items where it's like, for instance, Stone Plate is already 2,500, right? It's just like very cheap 2 power spike. I main Q, W, max Q, W, then E because Q does the most burst damage, and then after you've got the early game damage, you don't need more, you just want utility, so this is the order I go. So anyways, let's go into the games, or the builds. So pros and cons. ANIVIA has amazing zone control with her ulti and her wall. You can cut off multiple chokes. Like when you're doing Dragon, you can cut off the left side and the choke above in the river, and it's like very hard for them to enter. She has decent damage with her ulti, with her Leandries. I was saying you can actually like kill tanks and stuff. She has good peel, sort of like the zone control. You put down a wall in your ulti, and it's hard for them to hit your ADC. She's hard to kill. She has a revive on her egg. She has decent pick potential with her wall and her Qs, and she is a burb. So some cons, she has bad vision control. She doesn't have any abilities that can reveal the bushes, so you are kind of face checking anytime you're getting wards down, so you kind of need to play with your jungler to get vision down, or with a teammate. She's hard to combo versus mobile ADCs. I usually wouldn't play her versus like a Lucian or something bot because they can dash and get out of her stun, and if you try to wall them off, they can dash over the wall, so I wouldn't play versus mobile ADCs, but in mobile ADCs, like for instance, like Jhin or something, good matchups. She's a mobile and slow, so again, you don't want to go for vision by yourself because you don't have anything to check bushes, and you're also a sitting duck. And walls can screw your teammates is a big one. You want to make sure you're not putting your wall down and cutting your teammates off from the team because they will die and they will flame you and they will report you, and that's never fun. And she finally has poor mana management, so you're not using your ulti to farm waves and stuff, so it's not too big of a deal for that instance. But in team fights, if you don't get a kill or an assist, you're not going to get the 20% mana back, and you're going to run So you really want to make sure once you're starting to run low on mana in a team fight that you stop using your ulti and just use your Qs and walls and stuff until you get a kill again. For summoner spells, you have Flash. Again, you're a sitting duck. Haha, never mind, you're a bird. Um, you got your Flash to stay safe. She's immobile. Ignite for kill lanes. Ignite reduces heal by 50%. So if you pop this on the ADC before they heal, they're losing effectively half of their heal. Makes it a lot easier to get kills. If you're in a lane where you don't think you have as much kill potential, or they're very aggro, you can take Exhaust. Very good option. For instance, like I said, Lucian, very hard to hit your combo on because he'll dash it. So I take Exhaust so that if he tries to go aggressive on me, I can exhaust them and land my stun. For runes, so I prefer Dark Harvest. You put your ulti down and it can get a Dark Harvest stack, and if you kill someone, it resets and you get more and more stacks, so it's very good. You can get multiple stacks in a fight. You put your ulti down, and like if you wall 2 people in it, you can get 2 stacks right there. Basically, if you kill one and then you get the other stack. Electrocute is a good option versus very healing lanes like Soraka, Yumi, people who will keep the ADC from getting into Dark Harvest proc range. You can go Electrocute to just get that burst in. So there's Cheap Shot, Taste the Blood. I prefer Cheap Shot. Your Q you can use to proc it early, and your ulti is like an auto proc because it slows. But Taste the Blood is okay for sustain. I usually avoid Taste the Blood with ANIVIA because you have your rebirth, which is your egg, which brings you back to life, which means sustain is a bit not as necessary because you basically can think of your pool as twice as big as the enemy's health pool, which means if you're taking some poke onto you but you're doing damage to them with Cheap Shot, it's a better trade because if you poke them out of lane, they have to be, where if they poke you out of lane, it's kind of like you can be risky. It's like if they do end up killing me, I have my like rebirth. So next is Zombie Ward and Ghost Poro. I run Zombie Ward personally because in high elo, the enemy team wards a lot and they also sweep a lot. And if they sweep my wards, I can't get Ghost Poros. And since they ward a lot, I can sweep their wards and stack Zombie Ward well. Gives you good defensive vision line too. In lower elos, like below Diamond, I would go Ghost Poro because, again, if the enemy team's not warding as much, it's going to be hard to stack Zombie Ward. And in lower elos, the enemy's less likely to sweep your wards, which means it's easier to get your Ghost Poro stacks. So, in general, Diamond plus, I go Zombie Ward on every champ. And below Diamond, I go Ghost Poro because of just the difference in playstyle between those different levels of play. So, Relentless Hunter, this is like one of the reasons I go Domination. A must, a must, a must. And did I say it again? A must. ANIVIA is so slow. She has the second slowest move speed in the game. You really, as a support, you want to be everywhere at once. You want an enemy to always be like, is she bot? Is she mid? Is she top? Where is she? She could be anywhere. And without Relentless Hunter and Boots of Mobility, she's just so slow that it makes your playstyle very predictable and easy to react to because they always know where you're going because you're so slow. So you want to get Relentless Hunter, Boots of Mobility, or Boots of Swiftness if you don't want to lose all your move speed in combat is okay too if you have Relentless Hunter, just to give you the move speed to roam. So Presence of Mind, no matter what rune, say you don't like my Domination, you're like, I want to go Sorcery for Comet, sure, all you, or you want to go Glacial, sure, all you. Like, if you have different playstyle, go for it. Don't let anyone ever tell you what's the best playstyle. Play what you think's the best. But I will tell you, never mind what I just said, this is the best. You must run Presence of Mind on ANIVIA support. You're not getting tier, you're not getting Rod of Ages because they're very expensive items, and you're not playing for like stacking and becoming a late game carry. You're appealing support. So it's not a big deal that you don't have these mono items because, again, you're not like if a mid laner, you need Rod of Ages and tier because every single wave that comes in, you're ulting the wave to clear it, ulti the wave to clear it, and you have blue buff and stuff. For you as a support, you're barely ever using your ulti. You only ulti when you're in a team fight. And basically in a team fight, people keep dying and you keep refreshing your Presence of Mind so you don't run out of mana. So this is a mandatory rune so you don't run out of mana. If you don't have this rune, you'll kill one person in a fight and run out of mana. And it's basically like your team fight's a 4v4 because you're out of the fight because you're out of mana. But if you go into a team fight and someone dies, Presence of Mind kicks in, you get all your mana back, and now it's a 5v4. So very important. So there's not really many other good runes in the tree. Coup de Grace doesn't really add that much damage in my opinion. It's not really worth it. I would usually go Legend Tenacity because staying out of CC is really good. If they don't have a lot of CC, I'd take Alacrity. It just helps you kill wards quicker. Plus in lane, an extra bit of attack speed is really useful. She got a very good auto attack, which is why we go into here. I have Axe. With poke mages, you would go an extra AP. Like say you're playing Xerath and you're spam spell, spam spell, spam spell. You're getting a lot of that 9 AP over and over again. But with ANIVIA, you're not spamming spells. You're literally only going for all-ins, and on an all-in, you're only hitting 1 Q and 1 E, and then you're auto-attacking them to death. And the attack speed from Axe is very useful for those all-ins. Plus, she has a very long-range auto-attack that people don't realize. You want to be auto-attacking a lot in lane in general, so I run the Axe. So, sorry, let me catch my breath here, get a glass of water. Resolve. Okay, so this is what I would run into harder lane matchups, / if you just want to be a tanky burb. This is a great rune page. So Guardian gives you the AoE shield, so it makes it already if they all in onto you, they have to kill your egg, but now they have to go through this shield, they have to go through bone plating. You know, you have also your revive, like I said, and you have unflinching to keep you out of CC. You get really, really tanky, and if you rush, like I know I go Leandri's first, but if you're going this page, I would rush Gargoyle. If you rush Gargoyle on this, you're literally just like a tonk burb. Like no one is freaking killing you. Like you're not dying and you're just gonna be super annoying to the enemy. So there's Demolish and Font of Life. Demolish you can't ever really go wrong with. You kind of only want to go Demolish if you think that you have an easy lane that you're going to be able to take tower plates. If you can get a couple extra tower plates early, that's actually a lot of gold and can help you snowball. Font of Life is always good though too. Font of Life is like the opposite of Demolish. It's more for scaling. So Demolish is really good if you want to go early game and scale. And Font of Life is really good if you want to go late game and scale again, except you're looking to go like late game and scale rather than just like early game items. So Font of Life heals when people attack your CC targets. So on your Q or your ulti, anyone who auto attacks anyone in your ulti gets this buff going. It heals for based on your HP, so not very much at first, but as you start getting stacks, as you start getting your gargoyle star, this doesn't give HP, but when you pop it, it gives you extra 100% HP. When you pop this in ulti, people are getting a bunch of healing, so it really adds up in team fights later on once you get items like Shirelias and stuff. So really good stuff. All three of these are good. Conditioning is literally if you're in a super easy lane and you're not worried about it, which if you're in a super lane and not worried about it, I'd probably go Domination. But if you just like this playstyle, super easy lane, go Conditioning. For scaling, Conditioning plus Gargoyle, free stats. Second Wind versus a poke lane and you're worried of getting poked out of lane. And Bone Plating versus all-in lanes that are just going all in on you and you just want the Bone Plating to just take a chunk of damage for you. So there's Overgrowth, which is really good for scaling with all the HP you're building and the Gargoyle pop. But then there's also Unflinching. I would personally usually take Unflinching if the team has more than one person with CC. Like if they have 2 people with CC, I would just take Unflinching or like a Thresh Hook. Super good when you combo it with Legend Tenacity down here to get the 30% CD Tenacity plus 10% minimum up to 30%. So you're basically, if you're low health, 60% Tenacity, like you're basically not sitting in CC. Really good. And this is all the same as before. So Presence of Mind, Tenacity, Alacrity, and Attack Speed, just the same as before. So now we're going into Anivia's abilities. Woohoo! So you got your passive Rebirth. Rebirth is actually really, really, really good on Anivia. So in your 2v2 lane, basically the enemy, how you should think about it is if they're attacking you, you should just keep attacking them. Because if your ADC is attacking their ADC, and you're attacking their ADC, and they're attacking you, if you die, your ADC should be able to finish off their ADC and then you come back to life to help, right? So it literally basically, unless you get completely like pike pulled into the middle of their team, and even then you'll probably still live, you'll usually whiv. So if like I hit like my Q on the enemy, I just go all in because it's like if they go in on me, they just lose. They have to go on my ADC to win. Going in on me is not a win con if I have this up, unless they're junglers nearby, of course. So Flash Frost is basically you send out this big ice chunk, and then when you use it again, it stuns whoever's on it. So it's pretty slow, but you know, if you use your W, it'll help you. So I'll go into the W, I guess, now. So your W is like a big ice wall, and it blocks the enemy off. So what you want to do is you want to throw your stun at the enemy, and then as they're trying to run away, you put a wall where they're trying to run to so that they can't run that way, and then the stun comes in behind and hits them. So you basically want to, that's like the hardest part about Anivia, in my opinion, is using your W to cut people off when you're going for Qs to land the stun. If you can do that, you're golden. So your E is, it just basically throws an icicle. It does double damage if they're hit by one of your, either your R or your Q. It's really basic. Don't use it too much in lane. You're going to run I only use it if I hit a Q. So you hit a Q, you throw your E, you start auto attacking. Pretty simple stuff. Your R is an AoE slow zone that grows in size when you put it down. What you basically want to do is you put your R down and then you see which way they're walking and you wall them off. And then now they have to choose. So if they're going here, right, there's the slow zone here, the wall there, they're going this way. So slow's there. They're walking through the slow, you wall them off. Now they have to go left or they have to go right. And you basically take your stun. If they go left, you take your stun, you throw it left. If they go right, you take your stun, you throw it right. And it's basically very easy. Once you hit 6, it's easier to hit your things. You put your alt down, you put the wall behind. Now they have to choose go left or right. And once you see which way they're going, you throw your stun. You keep them in your Glacial Storm for a while. You get 2 or 3 Frostbites down and you're doing a ton of damage. So for skill order, I take Q, E, W, and then I max Q, W, E. The reason why I max Q first, a lot of people get confused with this, and they're like, but dude, E does double damage if they're it's slowed. It's so much better because it's double damage. It's double the damage, so maxing it does double efficiency. What they actually don't realize is Q also does double damage. So if you look at Q, it's oh, I messed this up. Okay, I'll fix that. But Q does, let's see, it does 60 to 160, and this does 50 to 150. So it actually does 10 more damage per level, and it also does double damage. You throw it out, it does damage when it goes over them, and it does damage when it stuns. So it's doing double damage, except it's doing 10 more damage. So you might as well just max it first. It's doing double damage like E. E does double damage, you throw it on Q. So Either way, you're doing double damage, except Q, the main benefactor, is it lowers the cooldown, and it's your main CC spell, and it increases the stun duration. So as a support, those are two important things, right? So you max your Q first for the most burst and the most stuns and the shortest cooldown. Next, you max W. By the time you get to this point in the game, your W is more important. You're not really there for damage. You're also really behind on items compared to a normal mid laner. You're not going to do that much damage with your E. It's not worth it. You just want the wall. Every time you put in a point in the wall, it gets wider, wider, and wider. Eventually, it's so wide you can cut off literally the whole mid lane. You can cut off the whole lane with your wall once it's at max points. So for utility, you go W and then E max last. It's kind of useless, to be honest. It's only really actually useful early in lane. In team fights, even, I'm throwing it obviously on people who are in the frost zone, but it doesn't really do that much. It does 100 damage at rank 1. Like, if you're running low on mana, I would really just only use it for your ulti, your Q, and your W if possible. Okay, so let me get a drink of water again. So, starting items are Spell Thieves and Relic. The Grandmaster player goes Relic every game. I'm still a bit more new, I guess, in learning her, so I go Spell Thieves. I say this on Nico too. On Nico, I'd take Relic Shield, but I tell new players to take Spell Thieves. I think mana regen is a really good stat if you're newer, because you're going to be wasting more mana on spells because you're missing / not using them as effectively. I do think Relic Shield would be better if you know how to manage your mana properly, because it gives you wave. Like, Spell Thieves is very hard to stack on ANIVIA. There's lots of games I'm not getting it stacked until like 2 or 3 minutes after the enemy support. So I definitely think Relic Shield would be better, but I think this mana regen on a champion who runs out of mana so easily is really, really, really useful. So you can go either. I personally have been going Spell Thieves and finding it okay. I might switch to Relic once I get a bit better at her. Boots, there's boots of mobility and boots of swiftness. So if you're going the guardian tree, you have to go relentless boots mobility because ANIVIA is super slow. If you're going for the relentless hunter tree, I have been going boots of swiftness a lot. It feels pretty good. You can also go boots of mobility. Your move speed actually, so if you go guardian with boots of mobility, your move speed is actually the exact same as domination with relentless hunter and boots of swiftness. So that's pretty interesting. But yeah, either way, you want either of these boots. Core item, Leandri's first item always. It's super, 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 super effective. It does a percent HP burn, which means as someone who's not getting a lot of items, percent HP is really strong because it means that you don't need a lot of items for that to be doing damage. Second of all, it does double damage if the person is CC'd, and your ulti basically CCs and keeps proccing this. So you basically put your ulti down, they're taking double damage burns every single second on tick, so it's super good with your ulti. It's the only damage item you really need. So that being said, situational, the first one I put down is a damage item, but this is very, again, situational. If the enemy team has a lot of healers, you run this, it makes you do a lot of damage because of the pen, but you're basically building it to cancel healing, and if no one else on your team is building healing reduction. I have the two builds. I either go tanky Stoneplate or I go Shirelia's Redemption. So Stoneplate's super good on ANIVIA. You basically can like go into the middle of the enemy team. You have a bunch of free, because of the HP you're getting from this, you get a bunch of free resistances from this. And if the enemy team tries to dive onto you, you pop the Stoneplate and you're just very hard to kill while you're just CCing them. Also, if you have, so you want to pop it earlier rather than later. If you don't have egg form. If you have egg form, you actually want to wait to the last second and pop it right before you turn into an egg. You keep the stone plate even when you turn into an egg. So basically, if you pop this right before you die, you'll go into egg and you'll have a crazy amount of MR and armor. You'll be super amount of health, and it's really hard for them to kill the egg. Like, if they're wasting their time attacking the egg while you're in stone plate, your team's kind of killing them. It's not worth it. So that's versus like dive teams if I can't kite them. If there are champs that I can kite, like say they have like, I don't know, a Lux mid and Olaf jungle, like neither of those champions are going to be running me down and killing me, right? Like, well, Olaf will be, but Shirelia's will counter that. And it's really good because you can give it to your teammates to help them do stuff. So I take this versus teams that I can kite. Also, the mana regen and CDR is really nice. If you get this, you should get Redemption. If you didn't know, Redemption triples heal power on it. So the 10% heal and shield power from this is actually 30% effective on Redemption. So if you get this with Shirelia's, it just heals a lot. Again, right before you die in egg form, you can put it down, and then when you're in egg, it'll heal you. So it's pretty good item in my opinion. If they have a bunch of AoE magic damage like Kennen or Karthus or, I don't know, Fiddlesticks, Vladimir, or if any of them get super fed, this is a good item. It gives a lot of magic resist, and you can give your team a shield to counteract the AoE damage. And finally, there is Proto Belt. Super situational. I haven't ran it too much, but when I ran it, it felt good. You can proto belt into like wall range to cut people off, which is nice. But the main person I've been building it versus Bard. So I knew on Nico, if I tried to say, for instance, go Glacial Nico versus Bard, I'd just be getting caught in Bard out after Bard out after Bard out, and I would just die. Proto Belt is such a good item versus this because anytime he tries to catch you with a Bard ult, you can just Proto Belt to dodge it, and then he just wasted his ult. So I kind of think it's actually first item Rush versus Bard. And like maybe if they have a couple champs like a Blitzcrank or something who you're worried about getting hooked, you can get its second item or something to dodge a hook. Decent item either way. For 2,500 gold, it's pretty cheap. Definitely wouldn't underestimate that item. So early game on ANIVIA lane phase. So level 1, you don't want to go too crazy. She's not too insane. You just want to be auto-attacking a lot if the enemy gets into auto-attack range. And looking for a stun if you can. But know if you miss your stun that they'll go in on you or zone you from the wave. How I like to hit stuns is you wait for the enemy to auto-attack a minion, especially like a cannon or maybe even a melee minion because those are more valuable. And as soon as they're going to auto-attack it, you throw your stun and that's the easiest way to catch them. So level 1, if you hit a stun, you just one auto-attack at max and walk away. Level 2, once you have your E, that's when you can start to all in. If you hit a Q, you can start Eing and walking in and auto-attacking them. If they go in on you, they'll just lose because you're Birth and your ADC auto-attacking them. So you can kind of go super ham at level 2 if you hit them. And again, with your, as I said, the full combo, once you have your wall, you put the wall, you throw your Q, wall them with the thing and go. In general, pre-6, you should be kind of careful. If you get ganked, you're kind of vulnerable and stuff. At 6 is when you're kind of insane. Like you can just put your ulti down and like to land guaranteed stuns and you just like do so much DPS, you'll never lose an all-in 2v2 at 6 pretty much. Even if you get ganked, you have your wall and your ulti, it's really easy to like zone the jungler and like walk your way out. So at 6 is where I would say you really become a champion. And once you have your boots of mobility, don't forget you can roam. So if mid lane, say, is like an immobile mid laner, like, I don't know, Twisted Fate, right? And you can walk in and put your R down with a wall behind him to force him to either dodge or throw a gold card at you. And then you can land your stun on him and get a free kill. So don't forget boots of mobility. You're trying to roam with Relentless Hunter, boots of mobility. She's actually got a pretty decent roam. All right, 21 minutes. Jeez, doesn't feel that long. All right, mid game. So mid game, you don't want to, like, as I say here, you want to transition to a support for your jungle. So what that means is you want to get vision around mid for your ADC, and this is kind of on all supports. And then you want to be roaming around with your jungler, trying to look for picks, get control of the enemy jungle, right? Look for your ganks on your teammates. So just walk around with your jungler, use your wall to get picks with him, and make sure for dragon control that you get vision around 40 seconds before it spawns. So dragon spawning 40 seconds, you get vision around it, and you back, get more wards and go back to it so that if they come in and sweep your wards, you have a full set of wards. That's really important on any support to do. And then in team fights, so before in lane phase in the mid game here, you were looking to play really aggressively, make picks with your wall and do stuff. In team fights late game, it's the opposite. You want to play very passive. You want to have a very wide vision of view, sort of like she's a bird. She's got her eagle eye, right? Her like wide vision. You want to have a very good vision on the fight. You don't want to be tunneling on one area. You want to see everything. So you see, oh, Kassadin's flanking over here, and they got a freaking Olaf who's going to ulti from over here. You need to be watching that. So when the fight starts, you can wall off the Olaf because you know Olaf can't get through your wall. And then you can put your ulti in between your team and Kassadin. And if Kassadin tries to ulti over your ult or through your ult, his ulti will be on CD and you can land a free stun on him. So in a team fight, you really have to keep a wide vision of view. You don't want to be tunneling on whoever your team's going on. You want to be watching for those flanks and making sure they can't touch your ADC. That's ANIVIA's strongest point in team fights, is that she has 2 ways to stop the team from coming in, and you just want to be using those to the maximum efficiency to keep your ADC alive. Remember, if your ADC lives, you win the fight. That's how usually it works in League of Legends, so that's what you want to do. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. As I said, I've been playing this in Diamond 2 Elo with about a 60% win rate. I know there's a Grandmaster one-trick ponies, so I would definitely recommend you guys try it out. And if you enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll be playing it all day on stream as this video comes out, so come say hello.